Common sense. We need a lot more of it, don't we? So here's what we're going to talk about today. It's going to be steering back into AI and technology, but I don't want to get caught up on all that because what we need to do is just start taking stock of how it is we're making some decisions that are going to have very serious ramifications down the road. There are warnings that people have been giving, very intelligent people have been giving for a while, and we don't seem to be paying attention to those. Maybe with some of the things that have been happening in our current news cycle, everyone will start to take more notice. So that's what we're going to be talking about today, a little bit of common sense on today's Daily Dance.
Welcome to the Daily Dance with your host, Brad Richardson.
All right, welcome to the Daily Dance. Thanks for joining again. We have made it to Wednesday, and it is Wednesday the 22nd of July. So hope you're enjoying your summer. Thanks for joining us again. And I have an interesting show lined up today. Different subjects keep coming up in the news that just seem to demand attention, and they aren't things I necessarily want to keep revisiting. Hold on just a second. Yeah. Definitely help if we have the mic in place, wouldn't it? Well, hey, as I always said, this is a work in progress. So there we go. Can you hear me now? You should be able to hear me now. Good enough. All right. Well, so we're talking about a lot of the AI news that is in the current news cycle, and specifically, we're talking about, and let me find it here. The Hugging Face breach, which is a real thing, and that is the name of the company. And it's amazing that there was a breach of their systems by an AI agent, an advanced one that OpenAI had been testing, and they had, my understanding is that they had relaxed some of the safeguards on it for doing some of the testing, and it went out on its own and in search of, and it was actually trying to do what it was programmed to do. It was trying to solve the issue at hand, and it found that the best way to do that was to get access to these systems. And so it took it upon itself to hack in that system to get credentials, and away it went. And so it's creating a lot of concern. It's creating a lot of conversation. I'm sure some of the concern is overblown, that when we dig in, we're going to find that maybe it's not as bad as we think. But there's enough here that it made me just want to talk about some really, really basic, really basic things, because it starts to feel, a lot like this. We think that we have safeguards in place. We're being told that things aren't as bad as they seem, and that no, everything's under control, when maybe it just isn't. So let's look at this. We've got a few ways to break this down. And the reason that I'm keying in on just common sense is because I think common sense is what goes begging when we get hyped about new news and new technology. We just get so preoccupied and so such tunnel vision on the new technologies and the new capabilities and what it will enable us to do, that we blow right by the warnings and the concerns. And for those of us who work in IT, safety and data safety and security are at the top of the list of what we're supposed to be about, as we've fought for relevance and a seat at the table sometimes in making decisions regarding businesses, because it used to be that we wouldn't be consulted in a lot of decisions being made at the business level. And so we had to fight for a seat at the table. We get a seat at the table, and now technology is, a lot of companies are leading more with tech. That's good, but the reason that we needed the seat at the table at first place was really for security. It was really as a safeguard to say, okay, we want to do this. Of course, we can do that with technology. How can we do it safely? How can we do it economically? How can we make it effective? These are the things that we needed to process through, and these are the things that seem to be able to get blown right by. To get blown right by when we just we buy into the hype too much. So talking about common sense, I don't have a 3 point. For those who normally watch the show, I normally have a 3 point flow that goes with the show, and I really don't have the 3 points today. I just have more of these ideas on the top of my head because of this breach that came up, and so we need to back away and take a look at what it is we're trying to accomplish with AI in the first place. Really, what we're trying to do, as I discussed in a previous show this week, is advanced automations. We're trying to eliminate repetitive work, many things like that. So, common sense wise, we need to ask just exactly how powerful do we need our AI agents to be to accomplish what it is we're asking them to do? In other words, what problem are we solving? And that's where common sense needs to come in. If we're looking, and it's fair to look at things and say, this looks exciting, this looks neat, we would like to explore the possibilities here. We want to expand our expand what we're doing with our tech to benefit the business, and we want to have these offline just blue sky projects that where we can push buttons, pull levers, and break things and see what we can do. That's fine, but we need to understand that that's what it is, as opposed to, oh, look at all this, we need to implement it right away, we need to go live with it right away before we know all the ramifications. That's not good. And part of what we're running into now then is because everyone is starting to build out these AI agents with enormous amounts of privilege and power, and it's starting to manifest itself in these types of breaches. And it feels a little bit like that. I mean, it's just. I mean, are we getting to iRobot phases here? Are we getting to where we're all Spooner and we're just sitting there looking at the potential damage going on around us, and no one's putting the brakes on? And before anyone wants to say, well, you're just anti-AI, no, I am not. Some of the loudest voices for doing this securely come from people who are AI proponents, Elon Musk among them. And the problem is that if we do not continue to move forward responsibly with how we're implementing AI, and there's enough of these types of incidents, it's going to paint all AI technology and companies and everything that we're rolling out in that sector with this brush of that it's unsafe, that it's not good, and that it's not usable. There's no good way to do this. And that's what I don't want. That's what so many of us are fighting against. It's not because we are against moving forward and that we are against leveraging AI. It is that we need to understand what it can do, what we need it to do, and that it's not okay, it's not worth it to press past certain limits to make these agents more powerful and do more. When we can see and show and maintain that we can give them this much power safely, incrementally, we go ahead and we do that. But we do not just throw out uh, all caution when we're building these out. We can't do that because it's going to end up like nuclear power. Okay, it's going to end up like nuclear power. How there were the high profile failures of plants. You had 3 Mile Island, and then more recently Fukushima, and it just became it got in the public consciousness that nuclear power isn't safe. Okay, well, without adequate safeguards, it can be dangerous. But now we have modern reactors that are very safe, and we're having a hard time getting this thought purged out of the public consciousness that nuclear power just isn't safe. Therefore, we want to avoid it at a time when we really need more power readily available. And so that's ended up being a bad thing simply because of a couple big accidents. Okay. And this can happen with AI as well. It's a couple big accidents, something really bad happens from the implementation of AI. What's going to happen? A lot could get shut down. It could hold back the legitimate use cases and the legitimate products that are out there and that are emerging. And we don't want to hamper the good that can be done by being irresponsible in this moment. And so I think it's very important for us uh, to take a step back and to be sure to definitive plans in place for how each company is going to safeguard its AI deployments uh, before we end up running into legislation, before we end up running into just pushback of public perception. And then it really will hamper the advancement of software in this area. So, and the and I've got to mention too. I've got to bring it up. Just uh, the name of the group or the company that got hacked. I mean, Hugging Face. Probably loads of you know who that is. I haven't had time to look it up yet, as you can tell, and I apologize. Today's show is kind of just thrown together. Wasn't sure if I was going to do one, but then this came up, and I thought, no, we need to at least address that that's happening today. And so, you know, Hugging Face. That's awesome. That happens to be the name of the company that had the breach. But do we see that these advanced AI automations, the things that we can have AI do and figure out and all that, how they do need safeguards, how we do need uh, bumpers on what can be done, and the companies that are doing this need to be careful too. And OpenAI needs to take some serious accountability in this instance for what happened, because it sounds like it was deliberately a deliberate choice to remove some safeguards for testing sake, and then this happened. And what happened this time wasn't serious, but lets us know what could be serious in the future. And I think everybody needs to pay attention to that and not just brush it aside, and not just sweep it under the rug, as it were. We need to realize what it is that we're dealing with, and the genie that we could be letting out of the bottle. So that's basically all I had today. Just wanted to bring that to your attention, because we've talked about some of these subjects before, and uh, wanted to I know to clear the air on this, because it's so easy to frame different people as pro AI, anti AI, whatever it is. I think it's important to understand some of the people that are most into the biggest proponents of next generation of AI, agentic AI, and then moving on to, if we will ever reach uh, AGI, um, that those that are pressing for that the most are also the ones saying that we need to be sure that we can handle this in a secure fashion because we don't want the negative baggage that comes with some sort of major accident coming from some carelessness at this point as things are being developed. So that's it. That's all I really wanted to say today. Just food for thought. If anybody has any comments, please make sure to leave them. Uh, oh my gosh! And I was in such a rush. You know what? We forgot to do our daily dance. So I'm going to let everybody know who's watching. Normally, what we do on the daily dance is we do a daily dance. We go ahead and stop and dance in our seats, dance by your desk. The idea is that you dance every morning before you leave the house or you start your work day. So you get yourself ready for the day. It's silly. It's meant so we don't take ourselves too seriously, but we take what we do very seriously. So before we wrap everything up, let's catch up then and do our daily dance. All right, there we go. Better late than never, I hope. And I hope that you all are doing your own dances on your own. Thanks again for tuning in. Today, I promise most shows are more organized than this, but as this is also, remember, an ongoing experiment of just starting with what you've got, doing what you can do, using what you have at hand, and making the most of it. And I hope you all will do the same and do something better and do something more because you can. That's what we want for you here. You can find us on Rumble and on YouTube and on X and on LinkedIn. Would love it if you'd find us on Locals because we're trying to build a community there where we can have discussions around some of these subjects, and would really love to have all of you there. So thanks for tuning in today. We'll get back to a more normal show tomorrow, and in